Sammy, in regards to the Golden State Warriors, and we're obviously keeping an eye on what they are doing. The acquisition of Buddy Hield, obviously the main story, which broke during our show yesterday. We were all over that. Evan and Dumas, fantastic job breaking that all down. So we'll get into the Warriors, but I want to focus on the Giants right now because they're 7-3 in their last 10. They just took series against the Chicago Cubs, I was going to say play-in contender because that's basically how I feel about the third wild card.
I think everybody in the National League is a play-in contender outside of like the Rockies. That's about it.
Exactly. So they're a National League wild card contender. You got the Dodgers, who are still the class of the National League West, although they just lost the series in their last two against the red-hot Arizona Diamondbacks. Christian Walker, my goodness, 5 home runs in his last 3 games. He owns Dodger Stadium right now. Guy's tremendous hitter.
That dude's been owning the NL West for a while.
Correct. So, yeah. And then you just took this series against the Braves, who are still in that first wild card slot. So a tremendous couple of series here, and it can culminate here before your homestand, Sam Lubman. If they can just take this series against the Cleveland Guardians, who, again, they might be the hottest team in all of baseball. It is a big ask. Although they are 5-5 in their last 10, but still 54-31. They're 23 games over 500, plus 97 run differential. They are a tough squad. And just, if I'm the Giants, the one guy I'm circling in that series before we get there is Jose Ramirez. He's the guy who's just been on fire this year. He had the audacity to compare himself to Barry Bonds, by the way, which is just nuts. So maybe Giants fans should take that a little personally this weekend. But a tremendous past 3 series and looking to end this road trip on a high note, Sammy.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know who else is really, kicking butt for Cleveland right now? Stephen Kwan, the Bay Area local. He just got named to the All-Star team, hitting a MLB high 367. He just recently passed the threshold you need to in plate appearances to qualify for that batting title. So he's hitting 367 right now, 8 home runs at the top of that Cleveland lineup. He's been a real table setter. This is a scary, good-looking Cleveland team here. Now, the pitching matchups this weekend, Giants might be getting kind of a little bit lucky and they're not seeing Cleveland's best pitchers, but let's see as I pull up the pitching matchups right now, slowly on my phone here as I vamp a little bit.
No, you're good. Well, they don't have Shane Bieber anymore. For those that don't know, obviously Shane Bieber, very tough because he had a great outing his first series, which was actually in Oakland. He looked great, and then he had the Tommy John, unfortunately, Shane Bieber, which a guy that the Giants fans were kind of wanting last, remember, during the trade deadline.
Cy Young winner in 2020,
Correct,
believe,
good
right?
pitcher, but they no longer there. Tristan McKenzie, who has a lot of promise but has not been pitching this well, he got optioned down in AAA, so the pitching, they might get a little lucky this weekend.
So Tanner Beebe going tonight for the Guardians against TBD. The Giants don't have a full rotation.
I love TBD. Might be my favorite player.
And then tomorrow night, the next 2 days, you got a couple guys with 5 ERAs, so that could be problematic. Those guys really do seem to give the Giants some trouble. But enough about Cleveland. Let's talk about this game last night. Yesterday on the roast, I was banging my hand on the table saying, "Get Logan Webb to an All-Star game." And last night, our boy went out. Got a little roughed up in the first inning, gave up a couple runs early, but he settled in, gave another stellar performance, going 7 innings, just allowing those 2 runs. And let's see how many strike. I think he struck out 6 more there as well. 1 walk. It's just workmanlike for Logan Webb. He is Mr. Consistent. He is Mr. Dependable. He has been everything that the Giants need him to be in that pitching rotation right now because it's just him and 5 innings of Jordan Hicks every week, and then you're bullpenning after that. Reinforcements are coming, but this was the last chance that Logan Webb had to make, for his All-Star case before they announced the rest of the rosters this Sunday. And at this point, it's just I don't know how you could possibly leave him off.
No, he'll get thrown a bone. I wonder how many players the Giants do get. It's kind of an interesting one this year because you obviously have the big market teams, the guys that are going to get all the votes, all that stuff like that. You actually got a lot in the NL West that is going to be starting, but just no position players for the Giants. You got obviously guys like Jurickson Profar, who's having a breakout year. You got guys like obviously Shohei Ohtani. Happy birthday, Shohei Ohtani, some might say. 30 years old today. Sam's not going to say that. But it's just if the Giants are going to have a representative, it should be Logan Webb. Right? Like that should be obvious. And the fact that he hasn't been involved in an All-Star game is kind of whack considering he was second in the Cy Young voting last year.
Well, remember, as Fleming pointed out yesterday, he would have been on the team last year had he not pitched on that Sunday.
Which is dumb.
He can still go. Like, why can't he put on the uniform, go to the game, take part in the festivities, get your name called? Because I feel like a big part of the All-Star game is just for the player, in my opinion,
it's the pomp of circumstance.
It's the pomp of circumstance. It's the ceremony. It's standing on the sideline and hearing your name called out. Like, that's what it's all about. Like, it's not a real game. Like, that's the problem. Like, don't treat the Major League Baseball All-Star Game like it is a real game. It is an exhibition for the fans. It is a love letter to the game and celebrating the greatest players in the game. That's what Logan Webb was last year. But you know what? Major League Baseball this Sunday has a chance to rectify that and get our guy to Arlington.
On the season, he has a 3.09 ERA. He started all of his 19 games. He has almost 120 innings logged. That leads the National League. Might lead all of Major League Baseball. I'm not sure.
I believe he is right now until Seth Lugo goes next.
There you go. So it has 103 strikeouts, 1.215. He's just been tremendous right now. He's probably going to have a sub 3 ERA. I mean, just judging by how he's pitching now. And again, just a workman-like approach. He's not going to be this, outspoken guy in the locker room as much. He's just a very quieter guy, but he's a fiery pitcher when he's on that mound. I love me some Logan Webb. I've been loving his series he's been having this year with Chris Rose. He's been doing a part of that podcast as well. I just like his approach, and he sets a tone, Sam, for that entire rotation, which again has been a mixed bag. They don't even, like Flem mentioned it yesterday with us, like they don't even have starting pitching. It's just been this mixed bag of TBD, as you mentioned, to be determined. No one knows. But that's just kind of what Logan, like he doesn't care about any of that stuff. He's like, You know what? I will put the pitching staff on my back. I'm going to go out there. No, I don't have strikeout stuff, but I'm going to have a Matt Cain type of approach, which is just refreshing to me, to be honest, because I feel like a lot of pitching today is just so much 99, 100, velo.
They want that gas.
I want gas, and I'm just going to do strikeout, slider. He works it all, man. He's got that sink action. He's got the double play action, and he's a perfect pitcher to have a guy like a Matt Chapman at third base, to have these guys picking him up. I was watching that ninth inning yesterday, and I believe it was Ozuna who got on first. And Chapman, I don't know if they considered an error, but it was going to be a close play regardless, but Chapman ended up overthrowing it to the first base. But he picked him up again. Austin Riley had a chopper to that on the third base line. It was a tough play. He got him out there, got the force out there. And it's just been a joy to watch Logan Webb the last couple of years. I know it hasn't been the greatest, postseason runs. They've only had one, and he was a baller against both those Dodgers games. But he better be in the All-Star game this year. I say a lot to say that.
Yeah. No, I mean, look at through the numbers right now. I mean, he leads the National League in innings pitched right now with with 119 innings. If you're one of those people who believe in WAR, what is it good for? Measuring, how good baseball players are, and then absolutely nothing. He's second in WAR behind Chris Sale, who we just saw on Thursday, or sorry, on Wednesday. He looked pretty damn good too. So, I mean, that's where Logan Webb's is right now. He is one of the best pitchers in the National League right now. He was last year. He was the year before. It's just it's harder and harder to leave him off this roster. And you're saying, like, yeah, he's not the loud rah guy, but he is a guy. He does lead by example. He has been kind of taking that leadership role over these last few years. I've talked about it with him on the Garlic Fries Baseball Guys podcast. Definitely go check it out. I don't have the water drop in front of me at this moment.
It's okay. I can do it.
So we talked about a little bit last year when we had him on the pod. So he's embracing it. He has embraced what it means to be a Giant. He really has. Like, he so loves this organization, so loves being a part of this organization. Like, we're talking yesterday, we were talking a lot about Klay Thompson, how Klay Thompson was one of us in a sense, and that you could feel like he had that same energy that we as fans have. Like, you see that from Logan Webb, the joy he has out there, the joy he has in wearing that uniform, and he understands the importance of it. When they're in Chicago and the news breaks that Willie Mays passes away, he asked the umpire, "Hey, I need you to stop this game. I need to take this in for a minute." And then 10 days later, he's on the mound against the Dodgers, and the news that Orlando Cepeda passes, and he has to do the same thing. I need you to stop the game. I need to process this for a little bit, because Logan is a lot like Giants fans in that he understands the gravity that those guys had, the importance that those guys had to this organization, to this fan base, because he's just like us in that sense. He needs that moment just as much as us. It just makes it so much easier to root for him. I've always wanted to believe that he could be that big face of the franchise for the Giants. I don't know if he's quite there yet, in the way that, like, it's hard for a pitcher. We saw Lincecum do it. We saw Bumgarner do it. Those are kind of exceptions to the rule. But Logan Webb, right now, with him leading this organization, with him leading this franchise as the player representative, they really can't ask for much better right now.
We got George Contos coming on at 10:30 right here on 95.7 The Game. Spadoni and Lubman in for Bonte and Chasky, and George Contos will appear on the River Islands guest line, as all guests do. So George Contos, 10:30, former World Series champion with the San Francisco Giants, current NBC Sports Bay Area host on Giants pre- and post-game live. So can't wait to talk to George about this team, about the pitching, and again, hopefully getting some reinforcements post-All-Star break. And we know one guy who will pitch before said All-Star break is Blake Snell, slated in to pitch, according to Dave Fleming yesterday, who joined us, against Toronto next week. So that would, be a huge help if he can get back to his old form, Sam, because I feel like we've been talking about Blake Snell. Oh, it's going to be great to have him back. Great to have him back.
Just be patient.
And then when he is back, it's just, it's not good. Then he gets hurt. And then so hopefully, what is this? The third time's the charm, right? We'll see.
Oh yeah. It is the late start to the season. Then he had the first adductor strain, then the second one. So yeah, this will be his third start of the season. So yeah, it's the return of the Blake Snell.
There you go. Giants right now 43-45 on July 5th, 2024, the year of our Lord, only trailing the Mets, Diamondbacks in that NL wildcard chase. The top three in the NL wildcard, obviously the Braves. You got the Padres, who've been playing very well. They're also 7-3 in their last 10. Then you got the St. Louis Cardinals, 6-4 in their last 10 at 45-41, and then followed by the D-backs, Mets, Giants. So the Giants still fourth within their own division, Sam Lubman, but the way they're playing, you've got to feel pretty confident about their second half again, if they can get help from those pitching, because you can't keep relying on the Hayden Bird songs of the world. And I get it. It's 2 starts. Maybe he doesn't know any better, but listen, whenever you have young guys that you're relying on, it's great. We saw this last year, though, whether it was Casey Schmidt, came on very hot. Bat died down very quickly. Whether it was Patrick Bailey, came on the scene offensively and defensively, was just tremendous. Tail down at the end. You can't rely on these young arms to keep going all year long. You need the vets to come in and take some of those innings and help those guys. And that's only fair to some of those young guys too, because again, you don't want them to lose confidence towards the end of the year. But I like what I've seen from Hayden Birdsong. Kyle Harrison, hopefully we're getting him back soon as well.
Saturday, he's expected. So
next Saturday.
Tomorrow's Saturday.
Oh, tomorrow is Saturday. Okay,
I
there we go.
have no idea what day of the week it is.
It's honestly the July 4th on a Thursday threw me off. I felt like yesterday was a Sunday in a weird way.
See, yes, I felt like Friday to me.
I don't even.
Like I got 4:30. I'm just like, oh man, it's so cool. I don't have to go to work tomorrow. Oh wait, no, that's not how that works.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, that was me all afternoon yesterday. But no, as you're saying, like the veterans, they do need to step up at some point, and they are doing that. I mean, Matt Chapman's playing some of his best baseball of the year right now.
It's the mustache.
He's been very consistent lately. You're really starting to see like the ball's starting to find its way through the infield a little bit more. The defense, you knew that was always going to be there. The guy though who is really, I think, been carrying, I don't know if carrying the lineup, but amongst veterans who's been a big part of this lineup is Jorge Soler. Ever since the start of June, he has just been on a tear. Now we're into its second month here in July, and he's still cooking with some hot grease right now. This is the Jorge Soler that the Giants paid, all that money for the next 3 years. You're seeing it. He's putting in the work in the cage with the hitting coaches. I saw him, before that Yankee series, he was putting in that work with Pat Burrell in the cage pregame. Wasn't wearing a helmet though. You'd think he'd learned his lesson there.
That was a freak accident.
But it seemed like they were coming through to a breakthrough there. And since then, like I've noticed, he's laying off that low and away slider a little bit more. He still chases it every now and then, but like in April and May, that was the easiest thing you could do. If you could throw him a low and away slider outside the strike zone, he will bite at it and he will bite hard and he will miss it. He's not doing that as much this past month. And I think that's been a big reason for his turnaround. He's walking a lot more. And for some reason, I guess we're putting him in the leadoff spot. And it's somehow it's working. He was there last night. It started off, when I asked Bob Melvin about that, why Soler leading off, his response was, well, someone has to do it.
That's a great line.
It's true. I mean, at the time, they just lost Jung-Hoo Lee. Austin Slater wasn't available. Heliot Ramos, Luis Matos hadn't quite yet arrived. The Giants really had no other options at that time. And now they're back to it again where they put him there. Why? Well, he just kind of likes doing it.
Well, it's interesting how something like that, a little tweak like that, can help a guy mentally, because there is something about batting leadoff, being that first guy and setting the tone for the rest of the lineup. Whether it's, you just need to get on base. So it forces you in a way, Sam, as you alluded to be more disciplined because you are setting the tone for the rest of your guys right behind you. So you can't be chasing as much because you'll just look like an idiot standing out there. And I'm not saying that's what he is, but that's how you feel when you are the tone setter for your team. You need to go out there and you can't look foolish on 3 pitches and go night, see you later. It forces you to be more discerning. Hey, we know you're this power guy, but right now, Jorge, we just need you to get on base. So don't even worry about hitting the ball over the fence right now. We know that's what we brought you in here for, but things change. Can you just be a little bit more calm and steady with your plate presence? And that's what he's been. I kind of look at a team that in a similar fashion, it changed everything for them. And you can blame or point to Grimace if you want to. But when the Mets batted Francisco Lindor leadoff during this huge run that they've been on, I don't know, for a couple weeks now, that changed everything for them. Mm-hmm. He was struggling mightily since then, up to that point, I should say. Then they put him into the leadoff spot, and it's kind of sparked that offense for them. And again, we left the Mets for dead. I think there were 11 games under 500. They had that series in Queens. They looked just... we were leaving them
for dead at the start of the year.
They handed the Giants games left and right in that. It was just embarrassing to watch that. I mean, the Giants weren't playing that well at the time either, but even Giants fans were laughing at how embarrassing the Mets fans were. They were down so bad. Then Grimace throws out the first pitch. They put Lindor in the leadoff and everything changed. So to your point, I say all that to say, as Guru likes to say, changing a tweak in the lineup as simple as that can have big dividends going forward. And Jorge Soler is definitely reaping those benefits. Heliot Ramos, he's just been on fire. I think that's been contagious too in that clubhouse. Mm-hmm. He's been incredible. Luis Matos making plays. You see that play he made?
Diving catch.
Unbelievable.
And that's the Matos and Ramos. We never really talked about their defense when they're on their way up as making being a big part of their game. You're seeing it. There are moments where you're just like, you need to improve that. Friday night in the 9th inning, Andy Pajes, I think that's how you say his name, hits one out to center field, and Ramos, I thought he caught it at the time. Melvin, after the game, when I asked him about it, he thought he caught it at the time. Bounced off his glove, ends up rolling to the wall. They ruled it a triple instead of an error, which, by the way, maybe this is a conversation for another day. Major League Baseball, what are we doing with our scoring system? The amount of times I've seen balls clank off a guy's glove and it's ruled a base hit, like, do I just not know what an error is anymore? I don't understand. There were several plays last weekend against the Dodgers where it was just like, that's an error. And then you look over at the official score, base hit. Like,
well, there's some home cooking. Here? There's always some home cooking, not to the level of. Speaking of the home cooking, quick aside, we really try to go at Michael Jordan in the last couple weeks and go deep diving in his box scores and his DPOY year, the greatest player in the history of the sport. Well, actually, maybe he didn't deserve the DPOY because if you watch the game back and you look at these box scores, I don't know, like stupid stuff like that. But to your point, like, there is always some home cooking, but as a player, if I'm Heliot Ramos, I'm like, oh, actually, I'm not that mad. Then, you know what?
Well,
it clanked off my glove.
I have my theory is that, Major League Baseball with more hits and less errors, that looks a lot better. Oh, offense is up, and defense is also good, but that goes into my Rob Manfred.
Exactly.
That goes in my Rob Manfred conspiracies,
absolutely.
Which I won't bore us with those today.
No.
But the defense is a big part of it with Ramos. You're seeing a lot of it now. And we're talking about guys who deserve all-star bids. I mean, Heliot Ramos, he's another guy where it's getting harder and harder to deny him an all-star bid. You look at the numbers, I'll pull them up right now. Like, he's among the top. He's been, let's see, looking at it right now. He's got the third best batting average amongst NL outfielders. This is with a minimum of 170 plate appearances. He's second in OPS. He's sixth in WAR. It's just, he's been absolutely killing it. God. I don't know how you could possibly leave him off. I mean, it helps that some of the bigger names are not available. Bryce Harper, obviously, no longer an outfielder. Mookie Betts, no longer an outfielder. Ron Acuna Jr., he's injured. I mean, you got Jurickson Profar and Christian Yelich in the starting lineup in the amongst NFL outfielders right now.
This year.
Oh, no, he's been really, really good. But, like, that's just kind of where we're at right now. Yeah. The usual suspects in the NL outfield are not available. So, Heliot Ramos, we're talking about Logan Webb deserving an all-star bid. He absolutely should get it. Heliot Ramos, he could very well this weekend end the Giants, I think, 40-year drought of homegrown all-star outfielders. You got to go back to Chili Davis. I believe it was the 84 all-star game that he was.
40 years
he
ago.
made it. So, yeah, it's been a very, very long time coming for the Giants in this regard.
888